The first thing that I want to share is that our enrollment appears to be strong, and in fact, in a number of school locations right now, we have at least principals who feel that they're going to have more young people on their campuses than we had projected. But right now, we're looking at about 148,299 young people that will be privileged to serve as we open up on the 27th. We're opening 3 new schools to accommodate some of this growth, and I think if you have not had the time to go out and see the new Charlotte East Language Academy on the Eastland Mall site, I would encourage you to do that. I'd also encourage you to take a look at the converted Villa Heights Elementary School and Wilson Middle School. Board Chairperson McCrae has just joined us. Thank you, Mary, for joining us. I don't mean to call you out.
4 person.
You were behind the District 4 person?
No, riding with her, so that's how we relate.
Right. So Dr. Jones, thank you very much for bringing Ms. McCrae. I know she probably wasn't ready when you pulled up. So thank you. She's trying to throw the blame on you, and I know, Ruby, that you would have been here on time. Old school person, so you know time. We're excited about the opening of new schools. We're excited about some of the improvements to our facilities. Our facilities team has worked hard all summer long to make sure that our campuses are better maintained and are ready for students. They've spent thousands and thousands of hours getting our campuses ready. I think what you'll see is that more of our students are going to benefit than ever before from some of our magnet options and some of our special school options. We're really proud of the work that's been done there. We're doing a lot in terms of discipline and how we're going to handle young people who are somewhat incorrigible from time to time. We're going to deal much more aggressively with the social emotional health of many of our young people. We are blessed that the county commissioners saw it within their purview to add additional guidance counselors, psychologists, and social workers to the mix, and we hope to use those people to the credit of kids this year, and we're really excited about that. We continue as we sit here to hire teachers. Last report, we had about 100 teachers that we're yet to hire, but within that number are a number of positions that may not actually be offered. So that number is a little bit exaggerated right now. We'll know more as we get closer to the start of school. But right now our HR team, I think, is really kind of burning the oil at both ends to make sure that we are fully staffed on day one. We continue to work hard recruiting bus drivers. We think we'll be in a good position. We're going to reuse some of the folks who have training responsibilities and other things to make sure that all of our routes are covered. It was interesting to see our new Director of Transportation pull up in a bright yellow bus today. I don't know if he was shuttling it or bringing it for your review, but it was also good when I leaned over to Tracy Russ and said, I didn't even know our Director of Transportation had his CDL. We could put him to good work. And Tracy said he's already been assigned a route, so we'll go from there. In addition to that, we worked really hard at making sure that our technology has been well distributed and maintained. We spent a great deal of time this year repairing and refreshing devices. In fact, we touched over 23,000 devices this summer, making sure that they were ready for our kids. We've installed new technology at a number of our sites and buildings, and we've upgraded our network infrastructure to be better prepared for young people, all while we were improving our usage of PowerSchool so we have a better and more ready command of what's going on in our schools each and every day. So let me shift gears a little bit and talk about safety and security. All of you who came in today saw one of the things that we're doing, and that is we're making every guest who comes in, including myself, to every school sign in through our security procedures. We think that that's vital, that we know who is in our buildings from time to time, even if the face is awfully familiar. And I would argue that much time as I spent with Terry Hall, the principal here, last year, I looked pretty familiar to her, probably to the point that she doesn't really want to see me very much. Yet she had me go through the security process here as not just an example, but as a method of regular practice for us. And so I know even one of the cameramen said, you want me to go through that? And we said, absolutely, we want you to go through it. And he graciously went through the process, even though we know he's a credentialed news agent. We want to take advantage of these technologies that can help us keep our campuses more safe. Over the last months, we've also made improvements to some of our other existing safeguards. We've added a number of measures to make our schools safer and more secure. We'll continue to do that. That includes enhancing door locks, mechanisms that secure our facilities. We're taking a look at a number of different technologies, from camera systems to motion detectors, to make sure that we know who's in our campus, as we know that they're well protected, at least to the best of our abilities. We've also done a number of things with CMPD. We have engaged in a series of exercises that we are calling active survival training, so that our young people know what to do in the event that something unthinkable happens on their campuses. I would also just mention again the work that we're doing on the social emotional health of our young people, because we believe that as we make sure that our kids are able to address some of the things that are most troubling to them, then those kinds of really kind of violent or outrageous behaviors won't manifest themselves in our schools. So we're working hard on that. We're also pushing very hard a new initiative about, if you see something, say something. If you see bullying going on your campuses, every one of our websites, whether it's school-based or district-based, has an opportunity for you to anonymously report bullying. So you don't have to be the victim of being bullying. You can just see it and say something that, you know what, this isn't right, what I see going on here between this group of kids, and you can do so anonymously. So there's no reason for you not to report. If you want to leave your name, you're certainly welcome to do that. But you can do this as a student, and you can do this as a community member, you can do this as a faculty or a staff member as well. Finally, I'd like to talk a little bit about our leadership. Behind every one of our teachers and principals are dedicated staff leads. We have reorganized this summer to better serve our young people. We've gone from 9 learning communities to 6 learning communities, and many of those leaders are here with us today. We are also very focused on providing greater equity across the system. And so we have kind of reorganized our office so that we have a constant focus on more equitable solutions across the district, whether it be the north end of the county, to the south end, to the east side, to the west side. We are absolutely focused on providing the most equitable education that we can. And we're not just looking at equity as kind of a standalone piece. We're looking at equity as a complement to excellence. We really believe that equity and excellence have to be mentioned in the same phrase. And I hope that you'll see this year not just our people more focused on equity, but you'll see them also more focused on demanding excellence from every young person that we're privileged to see, and demanding excellence from each other in our service to children. I would also add that last evening the board hired a new chief academic officer. We're very excited to have Brian Kingsley, who will be joining us. Most recently he was in Wake County. We're excited for what he will bring to our teaching and learning processes. I hope that each of you, particularly those in the media, will get to know him in the days ahead. We're still working on a start date. He's a coveted commodity in Wake, and they're not really willing to let him go as early as we'd like, so I'll be on the phone with their superintendent later in the day, arranging a few trades. No, that's not true, but we want them. I think the other thing that I'd like to say before I turn this over is really we've added a number of other key staff members. We've added a new assistant superintendent for fine arts, Michael Chilcutt. Mike joined me from Washington County. He's elevating the arts within the district and helping us to celebrate not just the traditional arts, but both the fine arts, the performing arts, and just a different way of looking at instruction that engages the whole child. And so we're really excited about that. I mentioned earlier that Adam Johnson has joined us as our new Executive Director of Transportation. He's demonstrated his skill set already this morning. We have a new Chief of Police in Lisa Mangrum, and we have a new Executive Director for Facility Planning Management, and that's Dennis Rory. All of those folks are here for one reason, and the reason is simply this, is that it's about our kids. And so in the comments that you're going to hear from the rest of this team, the focus is going to be on our young people, that 148,000 young people that we're privileged to serve, that we are going to look every day at how do we get better in the service of these young people. I would just be, I think, remiss if I didn't mention something, because I know all of you in the media are probably looking for something to do on Friday or Saturday outside of your job, and you can join us and the chamber and united way in kind of standing up on some of our campuses, doing some additional ground landscaping, helping a teacher get their classroom ready. We're excited to open this school year, and we're going to do that by having a community-wide celebration that really screams we're all in this for kids. And so with that, I would like to turn this over to Akeisha Craven-Howell, who's going to spend just a couple of moments talking about Magnet's student assignment and our advanced programs. Akeisha?
Thank you. As Dr. Wilcox mentioned, our enrollment continues to grow. We continue to enroll students both at their home schools and at the student placement office, and that's exciting because it means that more families and students in Mecklenburg County get to take advantage of our unique learning environments and theme-based programs. As students return in 1819, many of them will enroll in one of 13 new Magnet programs, including our first computer science and computer and coding themed middle schools at Wilson, Northeast, and Northridge Middle, our first environmental STEM programs at Bruns Elementary and Whitewater Middle, and a new K-8 school, Charlotte East Language Academy, offering Spanish dual language. As Principal Hall and Dr. Wilcox referenced, we're here at Dilworth Elementary Sedgefield campus, which is part of a paired school. We have 2 other sets of paired schools where we've worked tirelessly over this school year with the principal and the faculty, but also most importantly with parents and community members. And so we're excited about the pairing between Billingsville Elementary and Cotswold Elementary, where all students will experience the International Baccalaureate program. We're equally excited about Governor's Village STEM Academy, which pairs our former Nathaniel Alexander Elementary as well as Moorhead STEM. That school is in a unique partnership with Discovery Education, and all students in that school will experience STEM on a daily basis, hands-on, project-based learning focused on critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving. Many of our middle school and high school students will experience career and technical education, or CTE. From programs like advanced manufacturing and engineering to health sciences and biomedical sciences, information technology, business and finance, our students are learning in the classroom as well as in the field, thanks to partnerships across Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. In 2018-19, we will build on our 17-18 successes in CTE, where we saw record numbers of students, over 3,200, earning industry credentials in areas like digital design, advanced manufacturing, certified nursing assistant, and where we had close to 600 students in paid internships over the summer. We continue to grow these programs and expose more students to learning that meets them at their interest level and that further engages them beyond the core. And with that, I turn it over to Curtis Carroll, Associate Superintendent for High School Programs.
Thank you, Akeisha. I am the proud father of 45,000 high school students. I'm so excited about being the Associate Superintendent for High School Equity. Thank you, Dr. Wilcox. I have the distinct pleasure to not only introduce the individuals in the Office of Equity, but also our learning community superintendents. I would like to start with Avery Mitchell, who is the Associate Superintendent for Middle School Equity. Stand up, please. Let's say hello to Avery. And Trish Sexton, who is the Associate Superintendent for Elementary Equity. In our new roles, my colleagues and I have the distinct pleasure to examine K-12 education with a focus on the conditions that will provide equal opportunities for all of our children in Mecklenburg County. Our root work will come from our District Strategic Plan 2024, with the emphasis on providing strong instructional core for our students through the 3 key levers in our Breaking the Link report, which include time, highly effective teaching, and rigorous academic opportunities for all children. The district has established that equity is not the same as equality. We recognize that each student's needs may be different, and our team is committed to ensuring that those needs are met at every school in Charlotte-Mecklenburg. At this time, I would like to introduce our learning community superintendents. At first, I was thinking about introducing them by height, but I didn't want to call contract. I then started to think about introducing them by age, and I didn't want to embarrass Steve. So I'll begin with Denise Watts, who is the Learning Community Superintendent for Center City 1. Denise, could you stand, please? Leading the Center City 2 is Tara Lynn Sullivan. Our Northwest Learning Community is led by Dr. Matthew Hayes. Northeast Learning Community, John Walls. Southwest Learning Community, Dr. Steve Esposito. And Southwest, led by Dr. Condra Rapp. We would also like to remind parents in our community that we highly encourage you to attend our open houses. You can get the open house information from our website or call the school. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Dr. Frank Barnes, our Chief Equity Officer.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. I have the wonderful privilege and distinction to work with Dr. Carroll and Avery Mitchell, Mr. Sexton, on equity, as well as our entire district team. I'm glad that Dr. Carroll did not start introductions with those who were most follically challenged, because I would have had to have gone first. But it is a privilege to join you all today. As Dr. Carroll mentioned, last February we released the Breaking the Link report, and we began to talk about disparities in our community, but began to focus on key resource inequities and opportunities around time, access to rigor, and great teaching. And since that release, we've been working actively and aggressively to begin to address some of those disparities. In the area of being able to address time, we've been able to focus on improving our culture and our climate, and as we talk in greater detail about our strategic plan 2024, you'll see that emphasis on culture arising more and more, expanding opportunities to be able to explore alternatives to out-of-school suspension, not lowering our expectations of behavior that could jeopardize the safety of our environments, but looking for alternatives to addressing the kind of behaviors that could jeopardize both the safety of a student or disrupt the kind of learning conditions that we need to advance our overall mission and agenda. We've also been looking at how can we start to meet students where they are, students perhaps that have adverse childhood experiences, and prevent them from being to school on a daily basis or extended periods of time. And Ms. Kathy Elling, who I'll introduce in a moment, will talk at greater lengths about how we've been able to address social, emotional needs of students, of removing the things that stand in the way of students being able to access a rich and viable curriculum. We've been opening the doors to access to rigor. Dr. Carroll's been one of the leaders of that, looking at advanced placement course opportunities, being able to aggressively mine our data to see who is ready for that extra challenge, and aggressively pushing and recruiting them and their families to avail themselves of that opportunity. We begin to look at how are we identifying students who are ready for that extra challenge, broadening our view of that, but also standardizing how we do that. So it's not variable from school to school based on where you go, what opportunities you get, but that if you're prepared, you get supported and pushed and encouraged to take advantage of those opportunities. And then lastly, we've been focusing on great teaching. So one of the things that Ms. Parker will talk about is talking about how we've been recruiting and sourcing great teachers, because that's where our work really starts. And I'm glad we have the first grade team here to be able to exemplify what greatness can look like in the level of commitment. It doesn't start on August 27th. For many of them, it started the first day that they started their summer break, and it goes right down to the first day they started school. We've also been looking at what is our core business? What's the actual work that kids are going to be receiving? Making sure we can deliver on that guarantee of a viable curriculum in every classroom and providing students the supports they need. So we've been active. You'll be hearing more about it in our Strategic Plan 2024 release, and we're excited about the work ahead of us with the larger team, both those here, those in front of us in the audience, and those other 19,000 team members all across the district. And with that, I want to introduce my colleague and friend, Ms. Kathy Elling, who is our Associate Superintendent of Student Services.
Thank you, Dr. Barnes. Good afternoon, everybody. It's my pleasure to be serving as the lead for a newly created division of Student Services, which is comprised of the Departments of Student Services, Exceptional Children, English Language Learners, and Student Discipline Behavior Support. And as a newly created division, we have lots of work ahead of us. We're excited about the things that we're going to be able to do for all the children in our community. And we are greatly appreciative of some additional resources that have been provided to get this work done. Specifically, the addition of 10 school psychologists, 33 elementary counselors, and 17 social workers to aid in supporting our work. We have some continued practices, and we have some new practices that are going to happen, and I want to share some highlights with you. Restorative practices is something you may know about. We are deepening our commitment to this. Restorative practices aims to build healthy school climates by developing community. Implementation of restorative practices fosters positive relationships among students and adults. It helps kids understand that when they make a mistake, there are strategies to solve for that, both in mathematics and when we make mistakes with our friends and colleagues. To date, we have trained 1,500 staff members in restorative practices, and CMS has recently launched its 4th cohort of training schools, and we have 47 schools who are now going to be additionally implementing this practice in their schools. In addition to that, we are going to add caring school communities to our menu this year, and CMS is piloting this social emotional learning program in schools. It is a classroom-based program that's evidence-based. It fosters positive relationships as well and teaches students how to work within a community of learners in their classroom and in the school at large. At this point, we have 48 schools who are going to participate in that program, and we are very excited to assess the results, watch the growth of the students within the curriculum, and to plan for expansion. An additional program which came to us via some conference and some work we did this summer is a program out of Yale University called RULER, which stands for Recognizing, Understanding, Labeling, Expressing, and Regulating Emotions. And it's a research-based program. This year we are focusing on 33 schools, and we're working with the adults first. The adults are going to engage in professional learning at the school to develop their skill set around emotional literacy. And it is a complementary program to Caring Schools community. So you may have heard Dr. Wilcox and also Dr. Barnes say that we want children in school every day. Occasionally, though, when students make mistakes that warrant a significant consequence, we want to be able to provide for them an option to attend a new program, one of our short-term suspension centers. For students who receive a level 1, 2, or 3 offense that warrants an out-of-school suspension, they will be given an opportunity to attend one of these short-term centers, which will be staffed with a teacher, a behavior support, and someone who can work through some social emotional supports for the student while they're there. We will have 8 short-term sites offered by our partnership with Mecklenburg County Parks and Recs, and this is at no cost to the school district. The sites will be Elon, Albemarle Road, Arbor Glen, Naomi Drennan, Ivory Baker, Tuckasegee, Hickory Grove, and Wallace Pruitt. We are not providing transportation for this program because of the length of the time the students are there. It's cumbersome for us to do that. Additionally, we are going to offer another brand new program in collaboration with Thompson's Child and Family Focus, our Student Services Division, and also our Student Behavior Discipline Support. Through a partnership with Thompson Child and Family Focus, we are opening a middle school program on their campus at St. Peter's Lane. The program is designed to provide unique supports for our students that would be attending our traditional Turning Point Academy, which served, as you know, grades 6 through 12. But we are building a brand new program in collaboration with them to provide integrated both academic and mental health supports to weave into the program while the students are there. And that's a current update for our department, and at this time I'm going to kick it to my colleague, Carol Stamper.
Thank you. Good afternoon. So, just so you know, there's about 80 days between the time that our students leave us, the last day of school, and the opening day that we receive our students back during the summer. Now, some may feel like that's a long time, but when you are considering the amount of work that we do in about 22.5 million square feet within our buildings, some of which is in the school that you sit, and over 6,000 acres on our campuses that we're mowing and that we're throwing pine needles out and that we're weeding and we're doing the things that we all do at our own houses, it's a lot. So I'll also digress for just a second, and if you've ever been honored to provide Thanksgiving dinner or lunch for your family, you know what it takes to prepare that, to put it on without a flaw, right? If you've never had the opportunity to do that, you probably don't know all the details, and sometimes you're not even allowed in the kitchen to do the work, because it's easier if you're not in the way. That's a little bit about what happens with our staff in operations over the summer. We work. When folks start coming in the building and they start looking around or they're in our way, and I mean that respectfully, it kind of slows us down from time to time, and we just need the time to work. So over this summer, we have accomplished about $5 million worth of work in probably 100 or more schools. In addition to that, we have accomplished around $16 million worth of sustainment projects, which include the HVAC and the roofing and the paving and the painting and the flooring and the things that are very cosmetic that makes our facilities improved conditions, and they also look phenomenal. And I'll call out and I'll thank my team for just this room in itself, the floor, the ceiling. If you look around, these are the types of things that we do and want to accomplish during the summer. Custodial staff, again, if you've kind of never walked in their shoes, or you've been on a team to clean up or to prepare for, let me just give you a couple of stats that are just phenomenal to me. This summer we have used 29,250 gallons of floor finish. I don't know how much floor finish you use in your own house, but it's not that much. We replaced 30,000 light bulbs. That's the detail that I'm talking about that we really don't think about sometimes with the requirements for the preparation and the get ready to receive our students. So again, I put out my hat to all of my operations team, not only in facilities, but it includes law enforcement and athletics. It includes our safety and environmental, our capital program services, our school nutrition, our transportation, and two of which are sitting next to me, and phenomenal leaders, and others that make this happen during the summer. Bond projects, we are delivering 2013 bond projects at Charlotte East, K-8. We've completed some work at Myers Park High School, which is a phased parking lot reconfiguration there. At Northridge Middle School, we've added a 14 classroom addition. And Selwyn Elementary School, this was I don't even know how they pulled this off. They literally blew out the back wall and replaced it with open glass, and lighting is phenomenal. If you have not been by there, or if you will please go by there sometime, it is a wonderful project, and I think those teachers and students are really going to enjoy that. Overall, we've added 148,000 square feet of new space this year. Mobile updates, this always seems to be of interest to some. We have relocated and/or are installing 68 mobile classrooms and/or restrooms at 18 of our school sites. We are repurposing Villa Heights, as you probably know, for an elementary school this year. We're also repurposing Wilson Middle School to house and serve the computer science and coding program there. And then the middle school portion of our Turning Point, as Kathy Elling, I believe, mentioned a while ago, we'll be attending the Thompson Center, and we'll be supporting that. So again, a sincere thank you to all of my staff members, all of the partnerships that we have in this room and beyond to make this happen for our students. We are excited to welcome 148,000 students and supporting their families during the 2018-19 school year. Thank you. And I will pass this to not only a colleague of mine, but someone that I have been acquainted with in the past years, a phenomenal role model for our leadership for our transportation department, Adam Johnson.
Well, geez, I mean, I have a lot to live up to so far. So, and if you see me pulling up in a big yellow school bus, hopefully that's half the battle. So you see my dedication to the process. As Dr. Wilcox alluded to earlier on in his opening remarks, that we are ready, and I'm one of the few people who actually get excited for the opening of a school year. I have an amazing team in my department that has done leaps and bounds to go through what we consider our routing process to get us to where we are. We'll be starting the year with about 1,088 buses. We anticipate transporting nearly 100,000 students daily. Those buses will travel 125,000 miles a day, and we'll be making about 33,000 stops in the morning and a little over 33,000 stops in the afternoon. So you can see the magnitude of the operation that we really do on a daily basis. But we're committed to that, and we'll be here for the students. And one thing to know, and I'm sure that's the question on everybody's mind, will the buses all roll on the first day of school? And Dr. Wilcox, the answer is yes, sir. The buses will all roll in the morning, and they will roll in the afternoon. So just be patient with us, and we'll make sure that we get everything accomplished. As of Friday of this week, we'll anticipate about 44 vacancies. But the good news is we have another 28 drivers scheduled for training starting the week of August 20th, as well as August 27th. And then after that, we have another group of 20 that will start the week of September 4th. And then after that, we'll have our September bus class, which starts on the 11th, 12th, and 13th. And a big thank you also to Dr. Wilcox, who has really stepped out and helped our department by supporting a bus driver recruitment bonus. We've used our best assets, which is our transportation team, to recruit good folks that we know that can pass the background check, drug testing, and the driving portion of the process, really to get good people, and they actually get to take ownership in the process. So we're kind of trying to bring them along to let them know that they're included. Lastly, I'd just like to let you know about Here Comes the Bus. That's the application that you can use certainly on your smartphones, whatever device that you'd like to be able to track the bus. Parents, it will be available for download beginning Monday, October the 20th, and it will go live on August the 27th, first day of school. Certainly want to remind parents, please be at your bus stops 10 minutes prior to the scheduled time, and just be patient with us as you pack lunch boxes and you pack book bags. Pack your patience and be there with us at the first few days and first few weeks, because as traffic patterns will certainly be different. We're putting those many buses on the road, parent traffic as well as our school staff traffic. Just give us time and we'll get it right for you, but we're really excited about it. And once I get them to school, this fine young lady right here will get them fed, and that's Miss Kathy Beam, and I'll turn it over to her.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, ma'am.
We hope we're not going to be seeing too many lunch boxes being packed. Come to school and eat. Thank you. I am honored to speak with you today about an exciting new initiative in our School Nutrition Services Department. We are pleased to announce that we have partnered with NutriSlice, a leading software platform to implement digital menus and signage in our school district. Using NutriSlice's technology for all of our schools, we are now able to offer detailed nutritional information through the same type of convenient online experience that we've all come to expect in many areas of our lives. For the first time ever, our students and parents in our community can now access our cafeteria menus at home or on the go through our website or our new free app. They can view interactive menus with nutrition information and pictures of the food items. They can also filter menus for allergens and other nutritional requirements, and can provide us feedback by rating foods and leaving comments for us. The menus can also be translated into multiple languages, and PDF menus are still available for parents who would like to print a hard copy to hang on the refrigerator. The menus integrate directly with our digital signage screens in our schools, so students and staff can see up-to-date menu information there as well. We're so excited to introduce this new technology to our community as we continue to serve more than 22.5 million meals per school year. We believe that this technology will provide greater transparency into our meal program, offer a more modern and convenient experience for our students and parents, increase participation in our school nutrition programs, and allow us to operate more efficiently. We invite the community to check out our new interactive digital menus today. It's easy. Just go to the CMS website, www.cms.k12.nc.us, and look for the new School Menus button on the right side of the home page. Click on that button and you'll see a slide out that will allow you to view menus for each of our schools. You may download the free app from the Apple Store or Google Play as well. Please check it out. I really do we hope that the entire community finds this new tool, this new software, as valuable and as exciting as we do. With that, I will now introduce my colleague, Jerry Parker, Chief Human Resources Officer.
Thanks, Kathy. I think similar to Adam, the Human Resources Department is really excited about the first day of school, so we're looking forward to that coming up. I would be remiss to not say, a huge thank you to the principals, assistant principals, other CMS staff, as well as the HR team who has been working diligently for the last couple of months to really make sure that we have filled those teacher vacancies prior to the first day of school on August 27th. We are constantly looking for qualified teachers, but I'll tell you that process really kind of kicks off for a marathon for us around April the 9th. There's a 9-week internal transfer period for certified staff and district-wide career fair in April. And to date, we've hired over 1,500 teachers. That's either through external hires, rehires, promotions, or transfers within the district. With 12 more days to go, I'm excited to say, and also share with Dr. Wilcox at this point, we are down to 78 vacancies for teachers. So many ask, how does that really kind of break out? So we've got about 40% that we need within the high school, about another 25% in elementary, another 25 in the middle school, and then about 10% in what we would classify as our multi-grade. We still tend to have the greatest needs in the area of elementary school, math, exceptional children, as well as the variety of career and technical education courses that we offer. We've just completed, as of today, a 3-day-long new teacher orientation. And so what that means is those teachers who have less than 6 months of teaching experience attend all 3 days, and then our teachers who are just new to CMS attend that for 1 day. It allows the teachers transition into the classroom, enable them to provide students with a strong and supportive environment for the first day of school. The hiring process is fluid, as many of you know, and so while those numbers change daily, and we're also providing those numbers daily, they're also changing on an hourly basis as we receive recommendations from principals. We'd ask you to just be patient with us, as many others have stated, as we continue to fill those vacancies to make sure that the first day of school is a successful one for every child as they enter the classroom with a new teacher. I also wanted to just share a bit of news about some other initiatives that are going on across the district within the human resources function. So this year we've also worked to implement some large-scale change across the district, including a new process and vendor for background checks and drug screens. That's going to improve our cycle times, improve our client services, and drive greater efficiencies. So what this is going to allow us to do in the past, we could only do a drug screen for someone here locally in Charlotte. Our new vendor will allow us to do this across the country. So someone basically takes a QR code that they received in the email, and they're able to do it in Texas, California, wherever they are. So it allows us to improve that cycle time and offers them, the convenient solution for them. As well, we've developed a relationship with a third-party vendor to be able to provide a district-wide compliance training across the district in several different facets. That partnership with Safe Schools is also going to give us a broader platform to be able to deliver a virtual environment for our employee orientation, which in the past was a 4-hour session that people had to physically come into our SPA location and sit down and go through. This is now a virtual opportunity for them to be able to do it, again, thus improving the cycle times of our hires. And then yesterday, we announced some really exciting opportunities for our employee base with a new EAP vendor and work-life balance partner, Life Care. And so that vendor will, in addition to offering the confidential employee consultations, they were also able to help us with childcare, senior care, financial assistance, and planning and preparing for major life events. And in addition to that, the other piece that they will be able to offer us is crisis care. So when a crisis occurs at a particular site or location, they'll be able to be dispatched and be available for our employees in the same way that we provide the social and emotional needs for the child as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, Ernest Winston.
Thank you, Jerry. Good afternoon. Do we have any football fans in the house? I know there are a few more than that, but this time of year is very similar to training camp and preseason football. A lot goes into preparing for the regular season, or in our case, opening day, which is the first day of school, August 27th. So my team, which includes the CMS Foundation, the Office of Diversity and Inclusion, Title IX, the Office of Community Partnerships and Family Engagement, and the Ombudsman's Office, has been very busy sharing information as well as district resources with our families and community members that will help them also prepare for the first day of school. And many of them are in the audience, and I want to thank them for their dedication and passion around this important work. Parents, families, and students, I'm extremely excited that they can now contact the Ombudsman's Office, a new resource in CMS to help deal more quickly and efficiently with concerns, questions, or issues that our families may have. We listen to the concerns, we clarify the issues, and we help generate options and evaluate options for our families. You may reach us at 980-343-0055 or at ombudsman@cms.k12.nc.us. I will not ask you to spell it. Regarding the CMS Foundation, there are many opportunities for private investment in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools programs. The CMS Foundation is the nonprofit fundraising partner of the district. Staff there know the strategic opportunities for investment within the district and are happy to help facilitate those donations. If you are an individual or a business and want to support programs that impact educators and students in the district, the CMS Foundation is the place to begin. And our Executive Director, Sonia Gant, is here in the audience with us. You can also find information on the district website. We have several resources for families, most of which can be found on the district webpage in the Back to School section. On the engagement side of the house, we are also spending a lot of time in the community sharing back to school information. In fact, this weekend and next week, we have a host of community events that are taking place. Countdown to Kindergarten is one of them, August 17th from 4 to 7 at Discovery Place Kids in Huntersville. Back to School Bash, August 18th, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Walmart on Galleria Boulevard. There's also the Back to School Options Fair, which is August 23rd from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at the Weeping Willow AME Zion Church. Now, Dr. Wilcox has already alluded to at least one of the new opportunities this summer that's focused on supporting our teachers, and that's the All In for Kids Volunteer Day of Service, August 17th and 18th. I also want to mention WCNC Taking Care of Teachers Supply Drive donation drop-off. That is happening this Saturday, August the 18th at the Walmart in the Arboretum Shopping Center. This is just a sample of our preseason training in preparation for our game day, the first day of school. And with that, I would like to toss it back over to our superintendent, Dr. Wilcox.
Thank you, Ernest, and thanks to all of you. What we've tried to provide is a quick yet comprehensive overview of the literally hundreds of things that are going on. But I also want to kind of end with where we began. None of this would be possible if we didn't have the able leadership of our Board of Education. So I'd like our board members once again to stand and be recognized. Staff members, would you join me in thanking our board for their leadership in this? Please stand. Please. Every one of these new initiatives that you've heard about, or every one of the things that we have sought to stand up a little taller, comes as a result of conversations with board members. They are policymakers who understand that we make a difference for kids when we work together. So, Mary, board members, thank you very much for all that you've done for all of us. I also know that one of the things that's newsworthy right now is that we've had some issues related to testing of our water, so I just want to get a couple of things out on that, and I want to say that we voluntarily engage in testing of our water. This was not something that we were compelled to do. It was something that we thought was the right thing to do, similar to the voluntary air quality testing that we do. I want you to please note that this was, I think, an exercise that has been very beneficial to us as a system. In some places where we found that we had some devices that we needed to replace, we were able to replace them. And we replaced them before people came to us and said, oh, that doesn't taste quite right, or that isn't quite right. This is something that our team did. It's interesting to me how some want to portray it, but I would say that it's an example of a school system that's interested in doing the right thing for the right reasons. I will tell you that we're going to continue this testing, moving on to the additional elementary schools, then our middle schools and high schools. And each time we find an issue, we will correct that issue. It's also important to our community to know that when we find something that we believe is an issue, we will share that information with our broader community so parents are well informed. We have a website presence right now where people can go look to see if their school has been tested, and we will constantly keep that up to date. But I think it's important for me to say, as your superintendent, we did not find any levels of chemical trace in our water that we thought would be harmful to kids. And if we had, we would have spoken out loudly and proudly of that discovery. But we did not. And so we can talk more about it a little bit later in our individuals. We have our water solution specialist here. We have our facilities team here. But I wanted to make sure that our community heard today from their superintendent and from their board that we take the health and safety of our kids as a paramount responsibility. And with that, we'll turn it over to Tracy, and Tracy will perhaps facilitate some questioning.
Thank you, everyone. We'll have a few questions from the general media here, and then we'll break off, and you're free to ask individual one-on-one questions with our leaders as you see fit for the question that you might have. I just want to say that the reason there's so many people up here on the stage today is because this district is made up of lots of people, 19,000 people as a matter of fact, all of whom are dedicated to one thing, and that is the achievement of students. And I did use a bad joke at the beginning about an Apollo mission, but really it is our focus to enable families and kids, our students, your children, to achieve their moonshot, to do what it takes to make sure that they can fulfill their dreams, fulfill their potentials, and that's what we're here to do. We are accessible to you. The reason that Ernest and I are seated together is because we're point on that to make sure that this district is accessible, that parents, families, students, staff can get information that they need that's important to them, that we do that in a timely manner, and that we are as responsive as we possibly can be, not just at the district level, but that we support schools in doing that as well. You will see and hear more about those efforts in the coming months, but for right now, let's open it up for a few questions. Again, it'll only be 2 or 3 because we're running short on time, but our leaders are available to you for one-on-one. Yes?
Liz Foster, Carolina. I'll keep most of my questions for the one-on-one, but with this being the first year for the school carrying these student assignments, those changes alone will not close the achievement gap. So what will CMS do continually to improve that gap within the schools?
There are a number of initiatives that we're taking on, not the least of which is the reorganization, the refocus on teaching as an art, if you will. But let me be a little more specific than that. One of the things that we're doing is taking a look at all of our curriculum across the system. And we're trying to make sure that the curriculum that we have for the young people who have been best served by this district is the same curriculum by kids who have been the least well served. We're making sure that there's this idea of a guaranteed viable curriculum. That's part of the reason why we went out and did a national search for a new leader to lead the curriculum and instruction team, the teaching and learning team, because we want to make sure that we provide that guaranteed viable curriculum. Another way to say that is if we're going to teach Algebra 1 or Math 1 at one school in this community, that class has to be the same class taught in the same way to the same level of effectiveness regardless of where you go to school. That's where our primary focus is. Today we talked about a lot of things that weren't central to the classroom, but that's where now all of our efforts turn to close and eliminate achievement gaps. We absolutely know by some of the early analysis of some of our scores that we're going to take a couple of steps back and there's going to be some shocking things, but we're committed to moving forward. If you look carefully at breaking the length, I think we predicted the fact that we have some challenges ahead. But again, with the commitment of this board, with the commitment of all the people up here, we're going to close those gaps. Next. Ann.
On school safety, we've been talking about that for months, and I think one of the questions has been which schools get which types of improvements. Do you have that detailed list at this point to say, this school got a new fence, or this school got a new camera system, and these schools are gonna have to wait a bit?
So our proposed plan is for our camera expansion to be on all campuses. Our proposed plan is for expanded electronic locks to be on all campuses. So what you're hearing is that we have not picked a selected group of schools. We're trying to do similar things across the board because, honestly, I don't have the crystal ball. I don't know where it would be that we would need more of this or less of that on a campus. So we're trying to be very equitable as we are deploying this security plan. The phase one, or actually we're calling it phase two. Our phase one was the $19.3 million, if you remember that, we did several years ago. So this is phase two, and we hope that we can continue to deploy this plan to all campuses.
So to add to that, a number of the things that we're doing is we're taking a look at the sign-in processes. We've done that. We've now updated some of the technologies in our offices so that when you sign in, we have a better picture of who you are and when you go. And then we've asked every school principal to review their school security plan. That's how we know where the locks that need to be replaced are. That's how we know some of these other access point issues going forward. We've also done some other things in terms of our camera systems, and one of the things that you'll see in the not too distant future is we've completed we're in the process of a bid process that's going to allow a whole new technology that this community's not seen before, where everybody who has a badge is going to be able to summon emergency help if in fact there's an issue there. There are a couple of other pieces to that I don't want to get into great detail with right now. But I think, parents will notice as they roll up in their school that there's a heightened sense of security. They will see gradually over the year replacements of door locks, access systems, and things like that.
And I'll just jump in to add that it's important for the community to know that the district views safety and security in a comprehensive way. We are describing the measures that have been in place and are in place and being augmented through a graphic that you can download on the Back to School site called the Circle of Safety. There are a variety of measures at the personal level, at the school level, at the district level, and finally the community level that include social, emotional, and mental health supports, that include things like the measures that Jerry talked about, deeper background checks for our new hires, expanded background checks for our volunteers, check-in procedures that the superintendent described. So security and safety is not just about locks, it's not just about hardening facilities. Security and safety is about the entire community and every person in it seeing and recognizing that we each have a role to play. We have had, we do now, and we will have a variety of programs and measures in place in this circle of safety. And our goal, of course, is to keep all students and staff safe at school. So again, we can focus on what's important, and that's teaching and learning.
And one other thing that I would add to this, probably within the next couple of weeks, certainly the next 3 or 4 weeks, for sure, we will be turning over a list to the county commissioners so that they can release the $4.5 million of specific security plans and specific attention of where we're going to use those dollars. That will be going to them very shortly.
Let me go to one person. Someone else that hasn't had a question yet with broad, and then we're going to break. Dedrick?
Dr. Wilcox, this is your second year opening CMS. Can you tell me what are you glad you saw this go around that you did not see last?
Thank you. I think that's a great question because last year, while I came in with my eyes wide open, I didn't have the depth of understanding for why we did some things and how we reacted. So I really had a year to take a very careful look at, first of all, our teaching and learning office, the process that we used in place. I'm very thankful for having had that full year to kind of see what was going on. It allowed us to reorganize our learning communities. It allowed us to perhaps remove some barriers to young people. I'm particularly pleased that I've had the opportunity now to travel the county and see the conditions of some of our schools and where we need to prioritize some of our maintenance and facilities upgrades. I'm particularly heartened to see the schools where we're using technology to innovate as opposed to just kind of maintain the status quo. So now we can push the limits a little bit. So I think all of those things were great learning things. I really do believe that this year you're going to see the beginnings of some transformative changes where many people who have watched CMS for a few years are going to say, wow, that's not the school system of yesterday. I think you saw some of that today, and things as really as subtle but as changing as giving parents access to the menu so they can make healthier choices for their kids. That's not something that we were able to do even last year, but under Kathy's leadership and others, we're doing some good things there. I think you heard Adam talk about the fact that we're going to be better staffed in the area of transportation than we have been in previous years. That's going to improve the quality of service. So those are the things I'm happy that I've seen, the transformation of some of our departments through leadership.
All right, thank you, everyone.